All right. Welcome to the Community Mentorship for August 31, 2023. Thanks for joining us. And we are going to discuss a few things that we've been going through recently or experiencing and learning more about. And then I would love y'all's feedback. If you're watching this live, please send us your questions, messages here, or you can message us privately. So let's see here. The first thing we wanted to talk about is kind of just basically like what Jesse and Adina were discussing the other day, and that is simply learning how to release and make room for the new. I've been learning a little bit about that, and I think Katrina especially, you've like experienced that a lot in the last month or so. So do you want to share about that a little bit?
Okay. Yeah. So for me, the power of releasing and stepping into the new. For me, this past month, I don't know how much we shared, but we had a miscarriage beginning of the month, and it triggered a lot of health issues in me, in my body. And for some reason, that really triggered me. I got pretty down and depressed and dealt with a lot of mental anxiety, I guess you could call it. And I really was pushing into it, trying to get over it. And Carlos really helped me the one day and just pushed me to what do I want and what do I want for like my future, my legacy, my kids. And he really, emphasized even on, to what end would I go for my kids, and just push yourself. So I just really like it. Something just snapped in me that day. And I was like, okay, I can do hard things and I'm going to switch this around. And I did. I wrote out some things that, something else he said was to write down things that I love to do, and reward myself. So push myself to do the hard things, to step out and do some things that look kind of big to me, to get me past my mind game, and then reward myself. So I did, and that day I pushed myself really hard. We had guests at the time, and I just worked like crazy. And one thing I thought about is I served people, and serving people is I love to do. So I served people. I sat outside and ate for quite a bit that day, and I loved my kids and I loved my family. And I worked hard, and that was like a big shift for me. All of a sudden, every day after that started to get a little easier, and I rewarded myself. The next day, I painted my nails because that's something I enjoy doing. So I rewarded myself. Another thing I did, because it's such a mind game, like I kept going back into thinking about myself too much. So every time I felt myself going into that, where I was focusing on how I felt or worrying about stuff with my health, I started saying Psalms 91. And there for a little bit, I would say it whenever I would just open up my phone to where I had the passage on my phone, and I would just quote that out loud wherever I was. And it gave me some amazing power, like in my mind, like it switched a bunch of stuff. And for a while there, I was saying it morning and evening, even if I didn't even struggle with it. I just kept on quoting that over ourselves and my family. And it's been so amazing to me, that shift, how it just released a new me. I'm a lot more able to stay in peace when I'm like something kind of goes a little bit crazy, you know, with my health that would have normally triggered something, I'm a lot more at peace about it. Like I want to, instead of giving power to fear, I'm able to, what do I want, and use this opportunity to grow to what I really want. So that's something that I've really been or I really released a lot in this past month. And it's been amazing how peaceful it's been, and it's the flow. Actually, what's so amazing as well is as soon as I was able to, that day with Carlos, when he really pushed me, every day after that, I started getting a lot better. And it's just like now I'm almost back to normal. I'm back to what, you know, and it's just like, I really think that that whole mind game was a healing thing for me. And I'm not dealing with my health problems. So a whole release gives me a whole new me, or that release gave me a whole new. So it's been very amazing and powerful.
So you'd say for yourself, the release would have been your mental,
It was a lot of mental, yeah.
or what would you have said? What are you releasing?
Yeah, it was a lot of mental.
Just the
like
mental,
the fear, the worry, the what ifs, you know, what if it's this or what if it's that, or just that whole mind game.
Yeah, and I find it so interesting that just your testimony there. That was the other thing I was going to talk about. Then is then power of action on the other side. It's almost like that goes hand in hand. Like you release it. You have to release it, but then you also have to walk into the new.
Mm-hmm. And take action.
Yeah, and that's been.
Because I was releasing stuff. I feel like I was still stuck in that, and I think that's probably.
But it's almost like the action part was
pushed me into action.
Yeah.
I think it's.
And that's the key that I'm finding too in business, you know, right? When cash flow stagnates or you know, things just doesn't seem to flow the way they're supposed to, it's like, okay, what do I need to release? And then but it's the action then that when you get to a point where you're desperate enough to take all out massive action, that was the key for me. Like for you, it was your health. For me, it might be cash flow. Or earlier this summer, it was building a team. And it seemed like whenever it was even just that decision, just the decision that, okay, I'm just going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And that's what causes a flow. And it's interesting because even like Jabo and Tina, Jabo and Christina, if you haven't heard about their story, how they made some decisions about, they came to a decision point about, you know, moving forward with their journey of adoption. And all of a sudden, that once they made that decision, it's just like the stuff started falling in place. And it was just amazing how, I think it's a very powerful principle that if we would grasp it more, it would benefit us a lot more.
I think for me, I tend to fall into the just the part of I know how to release stuff. I know how to, you know, but that action
is
like where I'm like, okay, I released it, but when am I gonna to step into that take action and step into a new me or a new life change or a new lifestyle or
So I think bottom line is whenever I feel stuck, and this is just note to self, whenever I feel stuck, I need to ask myself, what do I need to release and what do I need to take action on? I need to write that down. That's super powerful. What do I need to release? What do I need to take action on? And it moves stuff. And I'll share this yet. So with right now with puppy business, we raise puppies. We're a licensed breeder, and sales are really slow at this time of the year, or they have been. However, without even, now that I'm thinking about it, this is what we did, but we didn't really think about it at the point. Just 2 weeks ago, we were like, okay, we have to sell some puppies to keep the cash flow, um, to keep the business going. And we just made that decision, whatever it takes. And that week we sold 3 puppies. And this week we're working on selling. We had a good target of 4, we sold 3. And now we have
5.
target of 5, and we sold 1.
But
and we're working with several different people
we have leads
that are
with
interested.
several,
But the point is, even if we didn't hit the target, we're still, all of a sudden, it just seems like the calls start coming in, the emails start coming in, and the people start coming in. Just making that decision, we did hardly anything different. We did a few things. We made some tweaks on the website and our marketing, strategically, but we did not really do a lot of things different.
We did decide to take,
Yeah.
to spend.
But it was like,
So
it was almost like even 2 weeks ago, we made the decision. We did not make any changes. We made the decision. That day, the very next day, we had multiple calls and emails, and the previous 3-4 weeks, we had nothing, not a single call. It was just that decision. All of a sudden, the calls started coming in, and it's not like, I don't think it's like some magic formula, but I think there is a principle of when we make that decision to let go. Like, what did we let go of? We let go of our fear of calling people and reaching out to people. We have to push, like, that's something I hate doing. Like, that's a challenge for me. Is following up with people, and so pushing through that and being able to, hey, call them, and hey, do you still want a puppy? Just as different things, taking action, like releasing and then taking action. It just opened up, and even those people that I called back or reached out to again, they might not want something, but it still opens that flow of where we're going and flowing again.
Tina said that releasing the judgment about certain situations, even when you can't see the outcome will be what the outcome will be. That's very powerful too.
Yeah, releasing the judgments.
Because for me, I didn't know I was gonna feel like, I didn't know what my health was gonna do. I was sick, like that whole thing, but I was able to and just let be at peace that whatever God has for me. So stuff like that, that's very powerful. And also being aware of our words. I found that to be very powerful too.
Mindsets, forgiveness, judgments and forgiveness are probably the biggest, as far as from an emotional and spiritual standpoint. Well, I mean, and it affects every area of life.
It does.
But from that standpoint, I think judgments and forgiveness are the biggest things that you can do. If you're stuck, looking at who can you forgive, what judgments am I bringing into the situation that I can let go of.
Yeah, it does.
And then the other thing I thought of was in finances. I know Carlos taught this as well. Is when we're struggling, where can we give? When we're struggling with cash flow, where can we give? Where can we bless somebody else? And I think even that, when we are generous, it breaks that spirit or attitude of desperation, neediness, that type of thing. Because you're giving, it creates a flow. You give, you also can open yourself up to receive, position yourself to receive. So
I think that has a principle in a lot of the areas too. Like
Yeah.
even for myself, I found that like with my past month, I served, I gave like that servant, and I think that can even come into all areas of life. It just gets the focus off of us, our
Yeah.
needs,
That's the key.
our
That's the key. We get
who
to
we are.
focus off of ourselves.
Mhm.
I think that is a huge key too. Like when we're not focused on ourselves and our needs, we are able to receive.
It opens us
Yeah,
for-
it shifts your mind. Like it's impossible to be greedy and selfish when you're giving. I mean, you like, okay, technically maybe so, but when you're in that
Right.
giving position of giving and expecting no return, that is, creates a flow. Like Tina said, Christina said here, giving to someone or something in need creates a flow of blessings. Yes, very much. Carlos, one of the things that Carlos commented here, uh, it takes an incredible amount of confidence and commitment to release the things and then verbally communicate it, renounce the release.
And be held accountable.
Yeah, and held accountable. So like if I go publicly and say, hey, I'm going to do this and that, the other thing, then it holds me accountable to my word. So yeah, that's true. Like if we commit to doing the thing, it is the next step, the next level.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When we're willing to completely 100% commit to something. And then just, no excuses. We release whatever we need to. We let go of whatever we need to let go of, and we take action on whatever we need to take action on. Push through whatever we need to push through.
Yeah.
So I was working on that this afternoon a little bit with just my business. I figured out all the things that I need to be or I want to be making and doing for the next 90 days. And then I wrote it all down, what it would cost, and broke it down to, okay, how many customers do I need to make? How many puppies do I need to sell? Obviously, I also do Charter Websites of Texas. That's our marketing company. So how many customers do I need to bring in on board and take care of in order to reach reach that those targets, victory markers. And that is one way to take really powerful action in business, especially. But I think it could be done like anywhere, like not just business. But what I did is I broke it down. Okay, it costs down to the dollar amount, and then down to the clients. How many clients per week, and what is the dollar amounts that they have to, the average amounts, and then that will be my target for the next 90 days. And because of that, because now I have a target, now I can break it down. I have something to go for, and now I have something to, um, aim small, miss small, like Chris Kyle says. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
It's like, Tina said, decide, commit, act.
Succeed and repeat.
Decide, commit, act, and succeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then repeat it. Yeah, it doesn't make as much sense until I'm actually doing it. Like some of those things, like these concepts, they're just like buzzwords and whatever. But now that once it's actually here and we're actually doing it, then all of a sudden it makes so much sense. And it just something clicks and it's like, go for it.
Yeah. In all reality, it might be hard, but the end result is amazing. And it's a flow blessing.
All right. Questions. Who has questions? surely one of you has some questions that we can answer. If you want, raise your hand, we'll bring you on board.
Or just type it in.
Type it in. Yeah, what are some keys that you're looking for? Welcome, Ken. And Isaac, thanks for being here. Javo and Tina, Christina. I always call you Tina because I'm used to calling you Tina from at home, but Christina, it's a pretty name, almost like country. So let's see, what else? What are some keys that we learned this week?
This week?
Yeah. We're just really learning about action and taking action. I think we've got a lot of practice in releasing things, but I think right now
take action.
Yeah.
Release and take action.
Old things that passed away. Funny. But yes, Tina, I hear you.
What were you saying?
No, really learning how to take action. That's my testimony has been the last few days, especially, has been really tough for me to get into the rhythm again. Like I felt so out of rhythm, I just felt so stuck. But even just making that list and just reminding myself, like I've done this before, but just doing that again and just making that list of, okay, here's my targets for the next 90 days. And it's just like, and then it makes it feel so much more organized and flowing and
clears your brain.
Yeah, it's like I have like so much stuff to do that I tend to freeze. And I know some of my family members do the same.
But it's easy to do that.
And it is. It's a common thing. We get too many things to do and we get overwhelmed. But when I take time to actually write it down, the bird's eye view, then I can focus on what's important. I can leave the other stuff, and it just creates that flow again where we can delegate where we need to. We can move things around. We can push things to the back, or we can push things to the front. But it just creates that flow again.
Right.
Where we're not overwhelmed, but because we're moving forward, we have that feeling of accomplishment. So, anyhow.
Yeah.
But I don't see any more questions. I guess everyone has such an amazing life. No questions. It's awesome.
Well, it could always enlighten us with some new add to what we said, and yeah.
Do you have any comments? Any more comments?
Yeah. Thank you, Christina, for being active.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate y'all and for joining us.
Yes.
Busy. We are too. Get it. So if you're watching this after the fact, thanks for watching. And if nothing else, do you have any other comments?
Wish them all an release and action. No, how did she say that? To decide, commit, act, succeed, and repeat. Go and do it.
Yeah. Ken did. He took some action. He's
definitely
getting it going. So can't wait to meet your partner, Ken. I'm excited for you. So I don't know when we'll next see you, but yeah, that's awesome. We're happy for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Have a good one.